it's your boy Black Magus, and yeah, I didn't think I'd record something so soon after my fall check-in. Thank you to everybody who viewed. Appreciate you as always. But yeah, just wanted to talk about some stuff that's been going on. In particular, a conversation I had with the guy that I'm staying with. Graciously gave me a room in his house. So we're talking about, I won't go into details because I feel like it would be embarrassing to him to explain why we got to the point where we got to in this conversation, but we're talking about something, and he comments about how, like, man, you seem really smart. You should be doing something like computers. Like, why don't you just take the knowledge you have and go out there and get a job doing, like, computer work or IT or something, because you can make a whole lot of money doing that. And I may not have said this in any of the previous videos that I put out over the past year, but I was able to find a job that, kind of was a step out of my normal boundaries, but also within a certain industry, in a certain field that I, really enjoyed being in way back in the day. I'm surrounded by a lot of, history. I'm able to help people. One of the things that's always been a big key for me is being able to help people and help them, like, to learn, among other things. My family, like, seriously, when I look over the history, we have a thing about being people of service. We like to do things. We like to be in fields. Most of us, I should say, like being in fields where we can do something for others that could be, helpful to them. It gives back to us by seeing how we're able to, make people happy, feed people, some of us are in medical fields where, we're helpful in that area. Things like that, education. That's what we're about. I feel like that's the fabric of my family. We like to, give service to others. And what I'm doing now is that type of job. And it pays, pretty decent for today's standards, of course. That's a whole nother story as far as, like, how much should a job pay and all of that, and how much you need to make. There's a lot going on in the world now where everybody's finances is fucked up because nobody's making enough. Or at least most people aren't making enough, so that's neither here nor there. The point is, though, is that, like, I like my job. I love my job, actually. I love my coworkers. I am blessed to be in a department that is, so far, so good, free of toxicity. We seem to work well together. We seem to genuinely, like each other. And with all the chaos that's going on in my life, with my finances, living conditions, health, mental health and physical health, and all that, like, that job is a part of the piece that I'm trying to get to in my life. And, just to leave it just for more money is ridiculous to me, because yeah, you can get more money, but what if I end up being in a place that I'm miserable? Like, I've taken IT, and I actually do have an associate's degree in IT, but I gotta tell you, getting to that point, it was kind of miserable for me. I did not really care for the intricacies of the work, and listening to friends of mine who are in IT talk about that stuff, they don't seem happy. Like, financially, they're better off than me, sure, but it's a super grind for a lot of them to get up and go into work. And that's not cool. Now, some people could block all that out because, again, maybe making a lot of money seems appealing, like it was to my roommate who was, talking to me about that. People have that mentality, but I don't have that switch where I could cut it off. If I'm someplace and I'm miserable, I don't care what you're giving me. That misery's not worth it. So the peace of mind, and again, it's not like I'm making chump change. I'm just not making the money that I would make if I go and pursue that. But I'm happy, and I think that's something that people really undervalue, and I think that's why you see a lot of talk and discussion nowadays about people's mental health and how we need to do better with mental health, because you're seeing a lot of people start to break down. The pandemic exposed a lot of that, because being able to work at home and being able to not be in that grind exposed, people to the realization that, I'm not really happy being here and doing what I'm doing, because if I were, I wouldn't dread going into this. I wouldn't, feel, as down as I, did, previously. Like, a lot of people were happier during the pandemic, if you think about it, because they didn't have to go into these places. And that's why you've seen, like, that mass exodus of people who, like, when COVID broke and people started saying, like, well, now you have to come back. They were like, no, fuck this. I've moved on. I found, like, in my mind, I found a place where I know I want to be and how I want things to be for me, and I'm going to pursue that. And that's why you had a lot of strife and a lot of struggle with some businesses, because people woke up to the idea that, there has to be a balance. You can't just be about the grind and be about the money. You need to actually have that mental satisfaction, and a lot of people are now trying to pursue mental satisfaction. Of course, with the way the economy is, it's been harder to do so for a lot of people. Hopefully, in the coming years, we'll be situated where we can actually be able to take advantage of that better, with better leadership, better concepts, better ideas, better laws, and things like that being put in place. Fingers crossed, people. Fingers crossed. Say your Hail Marys. Cross your fingers and your toes, your eyes. Pray. Do whatever you can. Throw pennies in the wishing well or wishing pond. Whatever you can to pray that shit gets to that point, because that's what we need. Like, we can see it in other countries. If you go and you study the world economy and study job habits, economical structure, I know it's a lot, but it's not that hard to see that stuff in a simple form. You just go pay attention to certain other countries, how they do things. We can have that here if we want it. It's just that the mentality has always been poor towards that. It's always been grind until there's almost nothing left to you, and then you realize that all this grinding has been done for somebody else. There has to be a balance, and hopefully we'll get there. But yeah, I don't find, especially at this point in my life where I've gone through that period where I wish I would have come to, this mentality much earlier in my life, instead of listening to other people and doing what I felt like other people would want me to do. I'm just trying to be at peace. I want to be at peace. I want to be content. I want to, when I'm gone, be able to have people look back and say, Mike was, He was at peace. He was happy, and he made a mark where he wanted to, and was satisfied with it. Being rich, and I'm not saying that it's a problem. If that is your motivation, pursue it. If having a lot of money is your motivation, pursue it. But it's the same thing. Find what you want that will give you peace, contentment, and the happiness and satisfaction that you want. Those are your goals. Then God bless you. I wish you the best and all of that. But people need to realize that everybody doesn't think on the same wavelength. And there's all different ways to pursue, the whole thing that the founding fathers originally created in the United States about life, happiness, life in the pursuit of happiness. Find your path and do what you need to do to get to it, and don't let anybody else fucking tell you that that's not what you should be doing or try to sway you from that. Find people who are going to be around you, who are going to encourage you to follow your path to your happiness and your contentment and your peace, and just stick with that. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that's my ramble for today. Anyway, as always, you guys, feel free to hit me up. Let me know what you think, and I'll holler at you later. This is your boy Blak Magus, and I'm out. Deuces.